Hello gamers, welcome back to Beyond the Emulator with your host Dylan and another episode of Retro Recap. In today's newscast, I'm going to share some Trimui device firmware news I've discovered and have been testing over the past few weeks. We'll check out the SpruceOS firmware and play some GBA. I'll also follow up on last week's MuOS new firmware versus the old before committing to a full setup. Both was running on the TSPs as we're trying to set up some NDS games. Lastly, I'm going to share another new NextUI pack and show how it works for artwork and cheats on my Smart Pro. If you keep watching, you'll also get to check out some really cool tools for your devices. So sit back, grab your device, and follow along to see if there's something you can tweak to get better gameplay and performance, because we're going beyond the emulator. And finally, if you enjoy these handheld videos, please drop a like and consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you and enjoy. Now without further suspense, let's get started. Okay, so here we are with Mustard OS or MuOS firmware, and what I've got is I've got the previous version, Loose Goose, that's on the top device, and I've got their latest, starts with the J, on the lower device, on a smaller card. I haven't actually physically set it up, and the battery's going to be getting low soon on it, but what we were going to do is run through just a couple quick examples of the emulator that's being used for the NDS on the MuOS software. So a couple things is we're going to go ahead and click on the content. We're going to go to Nintendo DS. We're going to make sure that we match up with the same games. We'll go to the DS. What is nice, if you see this, using your D-pad, you can go up and down, quick scrolling, where in the previous version, you cannot use the D-pad to do that. You have to do it one by one. So kind of a nice feature. We're going to go to DS. We're going to go ahead and pick Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. So we'll go ahead and go up here to also at Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. We're going to go ahead and press their select key, which then shows the option of their emulators. So here we have never played the game. We're going to look at the core. We're going to go ahead and select what is the default. So we'll go to their core downloader. We're going to scroll down to the Nintendo DS. And you can see the listings of the DSMU Me 2015, the Drastic Standalone, the Drastic Legacy Standalone, NDS, and NDS-DS. So the default is the Drastic Standalone. So we're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to go ahead and back out of that. We're going to go ahead and get that started. While we're doing that, we'll go to the next one. Now, the new feature that they have in their newer version is actually using the X key to go to the menu. Okay, we've actually launched it once. We're going to go ahead and look at the core just to confirm. See how you can just scroll down really quickly? Kind of nice feature. Nintendo DS. We're going to go to what is assigned as their default Drastic Advanced. So we'll go ahead and select that. As you can see, it's listed here. And we're going to go ahead and press play. So while that's booting, we'll go back to the previous version. If I press the menu key and X, that will give me actually my settings menu. Kind of hard to see, but what we're really aiming for is a good screen quality for the game and how it would work well. So we'll first of all go to change options. Screen swap is actually checked as yes. Sorry about the dimness on the screen. We're going to go to advanced. Here we go. So we're going to scroll down to display. So if we want to do side by side, we're going to try and do that. So then you actually have both sides. And if I'm using my R2, I can use it to flip. Makes it really easy to play there. Bring the volume down. So on this feature, if I go ahead and press menu key and X, I get my menu. What is called steward options is your screen. So we're going to do two side by side. You want to see that option? There it is. I'm going to back out of it. But at this moment right now, it's only giving me the left screen, even when I flip it. So at this moment, we're having a little bit of an issue on the default. So we're going to go ahead and get out of this menu and select. We're going to go ahead and change the default core. Go ahead and press X. We're going to scroll down to Nintendo DS. We're not going to use the default. Let's go ahead and go with the Drastic Legacy. Going to go with that. Going to go ahead and press OK. Now we've got a bigger screen. It just flashed. There we go. It's actually using the L2 to flip screens. What we're not getting is, we're not getting a menu, but we are getting full screen. Sound quality sounds great. So that is a great option, but we'll turn this down. Let's go ahead and get out of this. And see what's happening is it's not allowing us to exit out the game. We'll go ahead and flash the screen. There we go. It kicked us out. So that option is not as well as what was in the original version. So we're going to go ahead and press X again. Select our core. We're going to go with MuOS NDS as an option through RetroArch. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now we're running it through the RetroArch. Whoa, the screen's got a really bad blur down at the bottom. See, it's been stretched. Okay, so we open the menu. We should be able to go to our video, scaling. We don't want full. We should have it at 4.3. Go back to your quick menu. There we go. Much better screen. We're using the R2 to flip screens. But as you can tell, the sound quality is really bad. That doesn't sound good at all, especially at 30 plus frames per second. So definitely not an option here. So again, we're sticking with the original version. We're trying to look in their new firmware to see what best NDS game core is going to work best. We're going to go with two more. Go with X. We're going to select our core. We go back out of here. I don't believe it's going to change anything. Again, it just picks up the image in a stretched image. Yeah, that's horrible. So we're going to go ahead and close that out. We've got one last emulator core to try. We're going to go to the one at the top. We're going to just go ahead and scroll down. And that's another RetroArch, so don't know how it's going to really change anything. It's been stretched. Again, really horrible quality. So if you are using the new firmware out of MuOS, my best suggestion probably right now with the full screen, but the external standalone emulator is not allowing you to exit out. There's no hotkeys, but would be actually going to what we had originally went with as our second choice is the Drastic Legacy. So that's what we're going to be able to have to play with if you want to do any Nintendo DS games on the newer version. Just to share with that. But again, using it on the loose goose, we'll be able to just flip it here. I feel like that's the best version there. So there's your tip on some NDS using the new firmware and the old firmware with Mustard OS. Thanks for watching. Here we are with Spruce's OS firmware version 4.0, and I know they have some night leaks and they're working on a version 4.1, but some of their programs have not fully functional, like NDS. So what I was going to do is just kind of show you off this Game Boy Advance, just a simple platform today on their firmware. I've got it set up here, Game Boy Advance. I've got some games that are listed here, a couple of them that I've actually played and saved as favorites. But if I wanted to scroll down this list here, you actually see my artwork. Here's one drill dozer that actually is just showing a screen that's not actually an artwork. I'll show you how we can do that. So if I go to X, opens up in actually a sub-menu for the configuration. You can see there's a CPU mode that actually you can change. You've got options of smart, performance, or overclocking. I'm actually just keeping it for the Game Boy Advance at this moment at Smart. You've got choices on your RetroArch core. If I select MGBA or GPSP, right now I'm defaulting to the MGBA. What you can do here is you can toggle your settings as a game-specific override. So if I click on this, that means everything here with the asterisk is going to stay with Smart and MGBA. I'm not going to delete the ROM or the artwork. I'm not going to add it to the game switcher. I'm going to remove it for favorites, add or remove a collection, download box art, or select box art download. We're going to go ahead and do that. Actually, it seems like I'm not connected, so let's go ahead and get out of there. Go into my settings, go to my Wi-Fi. Always seems to be right off the bat. There we go. Seems to have connected. There's my check mark. There always seems to be a little bit of a lag on the SpruceOS connecting to the Wi-Fi. There we go. Now we've got a signal. We'll go back, scroll through to Game Boy Advance. So for example, we were looking at Drill Dozer. So if you wanted to default your cores to all of them being the same, not changing them for anything, you can actually toggle this. So we were going down to actually downloading box art. Located the artwork, and there we go. Now I've got artwork. Pretty simple. Go ahead and we'll go back down. So download artwork, you can select, you can launch as a random. That's pretty basic right there. We're going to go ahead and click on it. It's actually going to take me right back to my game. I've actually RetroArch achievements is set up on it as well, as you saw the icon up there, but it actually jumped right into my save state and loaded it. So I'm able to move on. Seems to be working great. If I go ahead and click on my menu key, it's going to go ahead and give me a sub-menu here to continue. Save mode, load mode. So as you can see, when I was playing, I've got a couple save spots. There's about 3, so that's where it defaulted. If I wanted to go back to the beginning, I could actually load this particular save spot. And this would bring me back to the beginning of that game. Go ahead and click on this again. We're not going to do any save or loads. If I wanted to go into make any changes into RetroArch, I'd click on Advanced Menu. Then it opens up the menu here to show you the settings you'd like to make changes on. I'm not going to really get into that. Besides that, if you were going to do NetPlay, you'd have to have that turned on. In SpruceOS at this present time, I have not used NetPlay versus using it like NextUI. So we're going to go ahead and exit that game. Works really well. We're going to go over here. So we've got Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I'm going to go ahead and press X. As you can see, the defaults are already there for the core. But if we wanted to change it to the GPSP, we'll go ahead and do that. It does not have any artwork. We're going to select the box art download. This is a second choice you can look at. Opens up a menu, and as you can see, it's giving a list of all the names that it basically picked up off the algorithm. None of these are going to work. Let's go ahead and do download box art. Gonna go up. There we are. There's our artwork. Gonna go ahead and go ahead and press OK. RetroArch has been logged in. You can see I've set up the frames per second. Sounds really well. Not a problem. Quality of the sound looks very good. I'm going to go to my menu. I'm going to go ahead and do a save. As you can see, there's no recorded saves. So this will be the first one. So now when you go to load, you'll see the arrow key showing that there's an option for load. Now if you scroll over, you can't do any because you don't have options more than one. But if you see the two side screens here, that's just because it's just showing a mirror of the first one. I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. When you go to advanced menu, down below in the bottom left hand corner, actually you'll see the core that's being used and the version that's being used for RetroArch. The GPSP is the core that's being used for this one. We'll go ahead and go to the quick menu. And game sounds great. We'll go ahead and get out of that. We'll do one more example. There was a couple of games that I had picked up the other day. Let's do down below Wario. So we'll pick up Wario Land. Now, if for example you don't go and use the artwork, let's go ahead and click on the game. One thing we didn't notice is which core is being used. Not a big deal. Let's just double check and see if it defaulted to the MGBA. We go advanced. No, it defaulted to the previous version because we haven't done any overrides. All we did was just change it. So this is running at the core GPSP. No problems with it at all. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a save. And when we exit the game, a little bit of a glitch there. Notice that it took a screenshot of the last image from the game and it's actually posted it here as its screen art until I go and change it. So right now you see this is screen art. We're going to go ahead and press X. We're going to go download box art. It's been patched. And there's the actual artwork that would go to the game. So there you go, just a simple example using firmware SpruceOS version 4.0 and just an example of the Game Boy Advance that's on there. Again, thanks for watching. So welcome back. So I'm going to actually show you how to use Scrapegoat. It is a artwork scraper and an actually cheat for some of my ROMs that I haven't actually done yet. So I'm on NextUI, latest version 6.9.3 I believe, and this is my main menu. We're going to go to Tools. We're going to go upward to Scrapegoat. I believe just to confirm, let's go ahead and check. As you can see, I got artwork there. We have artwork. Some of my stuff has, oh, here we go. A lot of it already has artwork on it, but we're going to go ahead and run it again. This one does not have artwork. So we'll go ahead with the Game Boy. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Tools. I'm going to go over to Scrapegoat. We can actually use its cheats, so we're going to go ahead and click on Scrape Artwork. I don't have my scraper credentials set up. I'll show you how that works. So actually we'll go back to Settings. I'm going to go ahead and put in my username and password. As you can see, these other options down below. So I went ahead and put my password in. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Go to my settings again. As you can see, my username is there and my password artwork options, clear cache, include hidden, disabled, empty ROMs. We're not going to make any changes here. We're going to go ahead and do scrape artwork. We're going to go ahead and select Sony PlayStation. We're going to scrape any missing only. It's going to go ahead and run through the ROMs that are listed on my Sony PlayStation. Depends on how big your library is, how quickly it'll go. I've got a small library, about maybe 10 games right now. Said actually scraping is complete. There was a total of 8 found. So we'll go ahead and get out of there. Just to kind of show you an example before we go to cheats, we'll go up to Sony PlayStation. Here's the games. All of them with artwork. And I believe actually the Dukes of Hazzard was missing. So everything is actually listed correctly. Now we're going to go back over to our tools. I'm going to go back over to Scrapegoat. We're going to go ahead and do download cheats. We're going to go ahead and hit Sony PlayStation again. So out of those 8 games that were listed, it's actually going to be searching for the cheats that relate to those ROMs. And then we'll go back into one of the games just to verify that the cheat is in there. So 5 of them were actually located, 3 were not found. So not really sure how we can figure out which ones are the ones listed with the cheats at this moment. So we're going to go ahead and get back out of there. We're going to go back up to Sony PlayStation. So most common ones that I would say that are going to have a cheat would be Spyro the Dragon. Let's go ahead and click on it. Let the game boot up for a second. We're going to go ahead and press our menu key. We're going to go over to Options. We're going to scroll down from Front End, Emulator, Shaders, Cheats. And there you go. Your cheats are actually listed right there. So to turn on for any settings that are listed that are for Spyro the Dragon, here are your cheats. We're going to go ahead and get out of that. We'll go ahead and do a quit. So we verified that. Let's do one other game. Let's go with Cool Borders 3. We're going to go ahead and press our menu key, go ahead and go to Options, go scroll down to Cheats, and there you go. The cheats for this particular game have actually been listed. So again, here it is, they're open. You just need to make your settings by on and off. Go ahead and get out of there. So there you go. Let's go ahead and get out of this. Game works actually well. Do a little game testing later, but to get back to it again, what I just showed you was Scrapegoat, which is basically a scrape artwork, and cheats for the ROMs that are actually on your Trimui Smart Pro or Trimui Smart Pro Brick. Again, thanks for watching, and have a great day.